Hello everybody and welcome back to some more league racing content on the channel. It's been a minute, but we're back for some more PSGL action here today at Abu Dhabi. And last week we raced at Bahrain Short, and you may have realised there wasn't a video on the channel. And the reason for that is because the race itself was one of my worst ever races, and not just that, my game also crashed midway through, so there was nowhere near enough footage or content there to really get a video out of it. So I just put it on the shelf and put it behind me and moved on. Now recently I've been having a bit of a tough time, with league racing, so I'm hoping to get back on it here today. So here we are, currently in qualifying in the Q1 session, and I just did my first time lap, which was pretty decent actually, a 32.6. It was only a couple of tenths off P10, P8 in that region, and I know there's more time in it. So let's go for a full lap of Abu Dhabi here, as there's 45 seconds to go. So down towards turn 1, bring the car over to the right hand side, 4th gear, and be nice and aggressive there over the curbing as we actually get a great exit through there. Not my smoothest or cleanest run, but somehow it was really fast, and we actually ended up going almost purple in the first sector with a low 6, which is really good. We then head into this little chicane, losing a bit of time through there, just making it a bit scruffy. Didn't quite hook up the entire section there, but the exit was quite good. We found a bit more time, lost a little bit through, and managed to recover a little bit, but definitely that little left-right chicane after sector 1 just costing me a bit of time. We then head along the back straight into this left-right chicane, braking at the 100-meter board, down to 2nd gear, pick up a late apex and try to open up the right. I tried to take a risk and go aggressive over the curb. It completely backfires on me, and we lose pretty much all of our advantage. So what was once 1/10, positive in terms of advantage, is now nothing. So we need to try and get something in this final sector. And again through there, just not really hooking it up, making a bit of a mistake, not really attacking the curbs enough. I also made a bit of a bad decision on the braking into the heavy brake zone before. And then through here, I'm just trying to make up a bit of time, which to be fair, I managed to do. I really nicely hooked up this section, found a nice bit of time through there. And we managed to pretty much go back to, less than half a tenth off my PB. But then the penultimate corner, as you guys may know around Abu Dhabi, this corner is glitched because even though you're within track limits, with strict corner cutting, you still get a warning if you touch the white line. So yeah, unfortunately, it wasn't to be. We improved to a mid-5, albeit with an invalidation, but there was a lot more pace there. In the end, we settled for the original lap, a 6:09, which wasn't great. There was a whole tenth that we threw away in that lap in the middle sector, and also the final sector as well was so scruffy. Just in general, it felt like there was at least an easy 3/10 in that lap, to be honest with you. And had I just hooked it up, I would have been somewhere between Presnade and my teammate and Lewis Welch for P13-14. So yeah, disappointed to be knocked out because the pace was quite easily there. I felt quite comfortable. I didn't do enough practice on the day itself. I was a bit busy that day, but I had done some over the week, so it wasn't too bad to me. But either way, that's it for qualifying. We're now going to move into the race, and we're going to see if we could try and pull something out the bag from P17. Here we are then for the race, and currently at the end of the formation lap. Now for this race, we're going to go for a bit of a different strategy. Now, I heard the majority of people are going to go for a one-stop, medium to soft, so I'm going to go quite aggressive and go medium, soft, soft. It's a strategy I use in career mode. It's worked quite well for me around here in the past, so I'm going to give it a shot and see what happens. So here we are. The lights are on here at Abu Dhabi, and it's going to be 5 red lights, and they're out, and away we go for the race. It's actually not the best of starts on the mediums. I tend to struggle to get a good start on this tyre. Down towards turn 1 though, we're going to try and go the long way around the outside here as we try to reclaim those places, but no way through. We've got both of the Red Bulls here just ahead of us. Imola and Lovecchia, both Italians, just ahead of us. So we're going to see if we can try and get by. I actually go to the outside here and find a nice bit of space. We go around the outside of both of them, but then through the next corner, I just lose so much momentum on the mid-apex, and I just can't quite get the move done. So we go a little bit wide at the hairpin just to try and avoid contact, keep things clean, and midway through lap 1, we're down to P18, so we've lost the place to Dario Imola in the Red Bull. But nonetheless, no panic. We're chilling. It's a long race, and I'm hoping my strategy will be the one, because around here tyre wear is quite weird. It doesn't really work like traditional tyre wear. So at this track, once you hit about 30% tyre wear, the tyres start to feel really, really bad. So, yeah, we'll see what happens. Up ahead, though, Ian Muller and Andy battling side by side here, down towards the brake zone. And I'm just sitting back, waiting for the opportunity to maybe see if we can pick up the pieces. Heading through the little left, right, left. You can see through here, Andy gets pushed off wide a little bit. I'm going to go down the inside, but then suddenly, mid-corners completely turns in. Maybe I shouldn't have had my nose in there, but, you know, the door was wide open. And I wouldn't even say I dive bombed. I just, you know, put my car quite calmly on the inside. And I thought I deserved more space, but we got turned in on, had a half spin, and we've been forced down to P20 and last place. So, not ideal. And, of course, we're at the back of what is a 19-car DRS train. So, yeah, lap number 2 now. A couple of corners later, I'm going to see if I can try and fight it back. I feel pretty confident, actually. I tried to cut the chicane again, like I did in qualifying, and it backfired again. It seems like there's a really fine line with that chicane between getting it right or wrong. If you get it right, which is what a lot of people are doing in qualifying, you can gain like a 10th and a half. If you get it wrong, it's going to hurt you. So I couldn't do it, and I kept losing a 10th or a 10th and a half in the middle sector every lap. Nonetheless, lap 3, DRS now enabled, and I could tell already my pace was really good. I felt really comfortable. The car was working well, and up ahead, Alvarola here gets a bit out of shape out of the chicane, so we're going to go ahead. And I don't normally do this, but I'm going to try and drain all my battery and make the overtake as we switch to the inside on the brakes, down the inside. We outbrake the Spaniard. We go down the inside. It's a nice clean move, no contact made, and Jorge doesn't put up too much of a defense. So we're now up to P19, and that's one car down. We then move on to lap 5, and it's going to be Yari who's next up in the Alpha. And I run a little bit deep there into the left-hander. I just outbroke myself slightly, which means I couldn't quite get the line right through the right. Had I done that, I would have got a much better run here. I tried to use the ERS to get a bit of a run in Yari. I'm going to have a bit of a look regardless as we go down the inside on the brakes. Bit of a lunge, a little bit late on the brakes, but no contact. We keep it clean. Nice fair racing all round. Wasn't able to get the move done, so we'll try again on the next lap. But for now, the pace does seem strong. We seem quite comfortable, and I think if we can keep cutting our way through, we're going to do pretty well, as Ian Muller now has 3 seconds worth of time penalty due to track limits. But now you can see this time, lap 6, we get the exit that we need, and I've got a lot more ERS, and Yori doesn't really put up much of a fight, and we get the job done there as we pass him on the second back straight. So we're now P18 in this race. So good recovery, back to where we were before the little half spin, and we're once again on the back of Andy. So we're going to see if we can line him up for the overtake. Lap number 8 though, this was, I think, my second warning, I think, if I'm not mistaken. I was just looking at the MFD, I wasn't really looking at the racetrack, and I've got a second warning for track limits, a really stupid warning. Again, completely my fault like the first one, and we've now got to try and do the rest of the race without getting another warning for track limits. So that's going to be a challenge in itself, but yeah, Matthias Van Erven actually retires from the race. He had quite a few time penalties. Alyssa Di Capua in the pit lane as well. So we move up into P16. I believe Van Erven had like 12 seconds worth of penalties after 9 laps, and he was running, I think, in the top 5, top 6 for Haas. So he's out, so that's one extra place for us. And as I mentioned, the Capua pits, and we're going to see if anybody else in the top 5, you know, responds to that, because that's quite an aggressive strategy in terms of the pit stops. It seems like Alessio started on the soft tyres, whereas the majority of cars started on mediums. But now, lap 9, we're going to try and get past Andy here. So here we are on the back straight, getting the DRS, not really making much of a dent in terms of straight line speed. And you'll see through here, just a bit of a lock up from him just means I can just get a better line and try to attack him. He gets a bit of a poor exit. You can see there, gets a bit of oversteer, and that's going to put me right on his gearbox. I'm using the overtake, but I'm not really making a difference in terms of straight line speed. Nonetheless, I'm going to try and go for the move here. Down the inside we go on the brakes. Contact though into the corner, side by side. Andy just holds on and makes the move stick, and crucially holds on ahead of us for P15. So fair play. I tried to go for the dive, didn't quite work. Left a little bit of room on the corner exit just in case, as we had a bit of contact. But now lap number 9, at the end of it, we're actually going to get a 3rd warning and a penalty, which was complete rubbish. If you watch it back in slow-mo, I had 2 wheels on the white line at all times. So I'm pretty confident that's going to get removed. I'm currently waiting for a steward's verdict on that one. But I'm just going to go ahead and say that will get removed, because I'm pretty confident it will be. Lap number 12 though, you can see Andy ahead, his light is flashing, so he's got less than 10% ERS right now, and he's running on fumes. Meanwhile, we've got about 35%, so we have a big DRS advantage and ERS advantage right now because Andy also has dropped out of DRS range. So here we go, this time it's going to be a much easier move. He moves a little bit on the straight there as we almost have contact, and not sure what Andy was playing at there, to be honest, moving on the straight like that. It almost gave me a broken left end plate. Luckily we reacted just in time to avoid it, and later on that lap, just a few corners later, I'm going to pit for my first of 2 stops. An aggressive strategy, of course, so we're going to put on a fresh set of soft tyres, and then we're going to go for softs again. So let's see how this goes as we drop down to pretty much last place. It's going to be a standard 2.6 from the Ferrari crew, and then shortly after this we actually get a safety car, Dylan Warren, out of the race.
Oh, nice.
And the timing on this was actually great for me. It really worked out, this safety car. We'd just done a pit stop. Unfortunately, it's not going to be perfect because we are going to have to drive under a delta, so we can't exactly go flat out. But Dylan Warren had an issue. I think he spun out of this corner possibly. You'll see his car on the left here, missing a right rear. And yeah, we move on towards the end of this lap because now we're going to have all these cars in the pit lane, and I'm no longer under delta, so I can actually drive flat out, and we're going to gain a bunch of places here. I'm giving it everything through turn 1 to try and make sure we can gain all the places possible, and we're going to be P11, so we've actually jumped quite a few cars, including Andy, who of course we overtook on our in-lap. He's still behind us. We've also managed to jump Antoine Desaluski in the racing point, and we now cut to lap 15 for the safety car restart. Now we're still going to go for this 2-stop. You know, it's impossible to get these tires to the end. There's such a long way to go, at least for me anyway. And yeah, we're going to see if we can get a good restart here. We've got Jan Otmir, I believe, at the front controlling the pace. And we actually got a pretty decent restart. Got some good temperature in the tires as well. And away we go then. So lap 16, about 13 full race laps to go. And we're going to see if we can try and get to the points. Right now, this safety car timing is good. My pace is quite strong as well, like I mentioned at the start. It seems like in the race pace especially, I'm pretty confident and pretty comfortable, so I'm hoping to do a bit of overtaking and get a bit of action, try and make a few places up and get to the points. Through the hairpin there, you got Antoine having a bit of a look up the inside, and we got Lovecchio on a 3 second. We got Andy behind on a 3 second as well. I'm going to say my 3 second is not actually a penalty, it's fake, so that will get removed hopefully. But now Antoine Desaluski down the outside here into the back straight chicane actually makes a lovely move. Kind of caught me a bit unawares. He leaves a bit of room on the exit as well, so a nice clean racing so that I'm able to get some traction. I know most people would have probably shoved me off the track there onto the AstroTurf, so fair play to Antoine there for keeping it clean. I tried to have a bit of a re-challenge and a bit of a look into here, but I wasn't quite able to make it work, and he gets ahead of us for now. So yeah, meanwhile both Red Bulls here causing a bit of a slop. I believe Lovecchio has wing damage, and that's why he's going slow. He's actually going to pull over here and let everyone go by, so we're going to gain a place back. And we've got Ian Muller just in front. He's on medium, so he's going to be struggling for pace big time. Just like my teammate Philip Presnader up ahead. You can see him in the Ferrari. He's trying to hold up some cars. He's on mediums and struggling for pace big time. So you'll see from here now, Ian Muller runs in a bit hot. Antoine gets the cut back, and we're going to go down the inside into the final corner. Super aggressive, trying to get past here and make full use of these soft compound tyres, as now Andy's going to try and get a move on Ian Muller behind us. And you can see Presnader, P8 struggling on those mediums for some grip, and then Lovecchio actually confirms his retirement, which as a consequence triggers a second safety car. I think actually Yari retired as well, so whatever happened there, a second safety car occurs, and this kind of messed up my race a little bit. This safety car wasn't as good as the first one because I knew I had to stop again, but Philip Presnader, my teammate, had to stop as well. He hadn't stopped yet, so he was ahead on track, so he got preference on the stop, so he pit first, and I'm going to have to wait an extra lap to pit. The bad news about this means while I'm going to have to freshen tyres, I'm going to be at the back of the grid, so not ideal. We're going to be joined in the pit lane by Danny Moreno in the Mercedes, and we're both going to be trundling at the back. So yeah, soft tyres go on, another fresh set. We're going to try and push on and see if we can fight our way back into the points in the final 7, 8 laps or so of this race. But yeah, fresh softs on. We're going to rejoin P15 as we've now lost 4 cars due to retirements in this race. And we're going to see if we can fight back. We've got Presnator in P13 as well, so he's going to have to fight back as well. And it's just going to be a bit of a recovery drive for both Ferraris here today as we get to the restart. So this time, Otmir on the restart goes a lot earlier actually, and the pace was much more normalised. Away we go. I was quite concerned and quite aware with Moreno's pace behind me. I was looking at him quite a bit, and in hindsight, I wish I hadn't done so much. I was expecting Danny to completely charge through and walk past me, but he wasn't actually that aggressive. It seems like he was just sitting behind as Caraton gets disqualified. I believe he got a 5-second stop go or drive. I think he got a drive through before the safety car, and he wasn't able to serve it. So Caraton disqualified, unfortunately, very unlucky for him. But we're now P14 as Philip Presnator has made a move on Chana Kinchi ahead of us. So yeah, we've still got Moreno behind. As I was saying, I was a bit concerned and I was kind of focusing on him a lot in terms of what he was going to do. But he wasn't really that aggressive. And now lap 21, we've got Iemulo and Akinci battling away here. And we're going to see if we can, you know, get a move done. There's going to be a lot of people on soft tyres that are pretty second-hand and very worn out. I tried to get the move here on Akinci. He's actually gaining on Iemulo as a consequence. I was hoping to try and box him in, but Akinci actually goes for the move on Dario, and I have to just back off because I don't really want to go 3-1 into there unless I absolutely have to. So yeah, I used quite a bit of ERS, which wasn't ideal, bit of a waste. Nonetheless, though, we keep it clean and avoid an incident. So now lap 22, Akinci has a 3-second time penalty now. So we're going to try and go for this move one more time. You can see here with the DRS, I'm not using as much overtake this time. We're going to have a little look on the brakes here because I'm pretty confident. But then he moves in the brake zone. Luckily, we avoid any major contact. I didn't lock up. Had I locked up there because of that move, it would have been wing damage and I probably would have spun him out. But luckily I managed to keep the braking under control and not have any contact. But now lap 23, Moreno extremely close, and he knows I'm looking for this move on Akinci. He's waiting for the moment that this battle starts to happen so that he can go for it. You can see there Akinci's light is starting to flash as we go down the inside on the brakes, and I know he's got no ERS left as Alberola gets spun off in the Alpha Tauri. And now out of here, I've got such a good exit. I'm so close, and you can see his lights flashing. We've got so much more ERS here. We're going to try and go for the move, but here comes Moreno down the inside, about to make it 3 wide on the brakes. I have to go to the right-hand side. There's a bit of contact. Akinci ends up spinning, and me and Moreno get through. I believe Moreno got wing damage in the process as we go around the outside and hold on against 2 cars and move up to P12 in what was a pretty crazy sequence, of course, with Alberola getting spun out in the AlphaTauri as well. Meanwhile, up ahead, Philip Presnator up into the points as we're now behind Vexit in the McLaren. He's on medium, so he's struggling for grip here. In hindsight, this move right here, I wish I'd waited one more lap because I had a lot more ERS and I wish I would have just waited one more lap to really use it properly. Instead, I used it right now, setting a purple middle sector. I'm trying to get past here as we go to the outside, side by side through this entire section, trying to leave room at all times as we have a good old ding-dong battle here with Vexit in the McLaren. Getting pushed off a little bit there, but still side by side as we head down towards the next sequence of corners. Moreno has now retired from the race, by the way, in the Mercedes from P14, I believe. And I'm still side by side here with Vexit. And Moreno trying to get by, but I believe he's going to retire any second now. As I think he has some kind of wing damage. You can see here we're still going side by side. I gave him a bit of a contact there, push him off the track. Didn't mean that, but I just got a lot of understeer. And then through the final corner, still side by side here as Moreno does pit to retire. And eventually we just edge ahead into turn 1, but what a battle. Side by side throughout the entirety of Sector 3. And we just managed to edge ahead, but that has done my tyres, my ERS, no favours whatsoever. We're going to P11 though. Again, we don't have a 3-second time penalty. So right now, with Ian Muller's penalty, we're in the top 10 this race. So we're looking at some points right now. We've still got a couple of laps to go. And I'm well aware there's a lot of cars up ahead, who, like I said before, who did not pit on that second safety car, who are going to have very worn second-hand soft tyres. So yeah, in the meantime, Vexit trying to re-challenge here into the brake zone. I tried to match him on the brakes. We take a very, very narrow, short line. I have to let go for now. I'm going to focus on the cutback, and this time I'm going to do what I should have done last lap, and it's just use the ERS and the DRS properly and make the move on the straight way before the brake zone and get the job done. So this time we get the overtake for P11, and finally we're through. As I mentioned before, a lot of those people on soft tyres were going to be struggling at the end, and one of them was Andy. And you know, we've had our run-ins with him this race so far, and it isn't over yet because last lap of the race he's going to defend quite hard. You can see his light is flashing, so we know he has no ERS left. I'm running on fumes myself, but he's literally running on nothing because his light is still flashing even through the corners, so that tells you everything you need to know. I'm going to use the last bit that I have of my battery here as we get the run with the DRS and the rich mix. We're going to go to the outside and we're comfortably ahead into the corner, but then into the brake zone, Andy tries to re-challenge. He goes for a reckless dive, then turns completely across and then pushes me off the track as well.
Oh, come on.
And that brings Vexit back into play here, and I just lose traction out of there. And they both get by. I try to have a look on the brakes here, but I'm trying to stay calm and not be too aggressive. And yeah, eventually we managed to you know, collect ourselves. We're going to finish P12, but because of the penalties and everything around us this race, we are going to score a point in P10, and it should hopefully be a point in P9 once my 3-second time penalty gets removed. So there we go, across the line. P10, and a bit of a shame. It could have been so much more this race. You know, the pace was great, but I lost a lot of time, you know, battling with Vexit in the McLaren, also battling with Akinci, also battling on that last lap with Andy. You know, had I been further ahead, I could have maybe benefited from Lewis Welch, Andy Capra's penalties, but nonetheless, it is where it is. I know Antoine Desaluski and Thomas Shooter had very, very worn soft tyres as well because they didn't stop in the second one, so in the second safety car, should I say. So there was definitely a lot of points there that we missed out on, but still it's a return to the top 10, a much better race, and I really enjoyed it because my own pace was quite strong and I felt competitive, and that was a good feeling for me. So I was really, really happy, and it was a good weekend as we get a P9 here in Abu Dhabi. So yeah, we go again in the next race in Australia, which I'm looking forward to. It's a good track for me. I do enjoy Australia, and I'm hoping for a good result there. But nonetheless, back in business. It felt good, and Philip Preston had a P5, so both cars in the points here today. If you guys enjoyed the video, leave a like, and let's try and smash over 1,000 likes for scoring some points here today in Abu Dhabi. Subscribe for more daily F1 content on my channel, and as always, a big shout out to the members of the channel for supporting the content. And if you haven't done so already, check out the 2 videos on your screen right now to see more content from myself. But guys, thank you for watching, and I'll see all of you next time. Until then, take care, and it's goodbye from me.